Okay, so this is continuing the video about how to record narration. If you are recording like a script or something, likely you'll be reading and you don't want to sound like you're reading, like you don't want to stop in awkward places. You want it to sound relatively fluent. You might also want to try different emphases in different sentences, or you might mess up. It's really easy to do takes for recording things, so you might want to try that. My mic is a little too high, so I'm going to dial it back a little bit. I'm going to show this by reading a couple of paragraphs from a book called Exit West. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say what the section is, so you might just number them and say something like section 1, take 1. And the other thing that you need to know is you need to have a loud sound that you're putting directly into the mic so that there's a clear spike in the waveform. I'm likely going to snap into the mic, so that way, sorry that was loud, that way there's a clear spike there in the waveform. And that way I can do different takes and try things again. I usually, at the end of each take, if I know it was bad, would go back and reread the sentence that I need to do one more time. So I'm going to hit R in Audacity. I've already checked my mic levels and things. So let's do this. This is clip 1, take 1. Their small flat was once in a small, handsome building. That was a bad take because I misread it, so I'm going to snap. Take 2. Their small flat was in a once handsome building with an ornate, though now crumbling facade that dated back to the colonial era in a once upscale, presently clouded and commercial part of town. It had been partitioned from a much larger flat and comprised 3 rooms, 2 modest bedrooms and a third chamber they used for sitting, dining, entertaining, and watching television. This third take 3. This third chamber was also modest in size but had tall windows and a usable, if narrow, balcony with a view down an alley and straight up. Take 4. And straight up a boulevard to a dry fountain that once gushed and sparkled in the sunlight. It was the sort of view that might command a slight premium during gentler, more prosperous times, but would be most undesirable, that sounds awkward, take 5, but would be most undesirable in times of conflict, when it would be squarely in the path of heavy machine gun and rocket fire as fighters advanced into this part of town. I breathed funny. When it would be squarely in the path of heavy machine gun and rocket fire as fighters advanced into this part of town. A view like staring down the barrel of a rifle. Location, 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 the realtors say. Geography is destiny, respond the historians. War would soon erode the facade of their building as though it had accelerated time itself. A day's toll outpacing that of a decade. So if I stop the recording there, and we just take a look at the waveform, you can see these clear, tiny lines where I've messed up. We can go back and listen to these parts where I messed up, and then I can use Cut Preview to kind of stick some of these things together. We'll do that in a separate video, but that is how I would do takes. I'll do one more video about how to meld these sections.